Sorry about that. I had Zoom difficulties, technical difficulties where I had to shut down. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
me? All right, good. Sorry for the delay. Hello. Hey, Boris. Thank you. Sorry about that. So, yeah, I had, I don't know if it was my laptop or Zoom. I was going back and forth with Alfonso just now. So I apologize for the 12-minute delay, but I will try to be as swift as possible during my presentation. So sorry for the delay. I'm going to pull it up right now, okay? And then we'll start. So thank you for being here today on this Thursday summer afternoon, right before the week, Friday before the weekend. So appreciate the time. So this is Networking Your Way to Success in a Virtual Era. I'm Dr. Jairo Borja, and I'll tell you my what I do in a minute. All right, so I'm going to pull it up right now, okay? And we'll start in about as soon as the PowerPoint goes up. How you been, Alfonso? How's everything?
Good, man. Everything's good.
Yeah.
I just came out of a meeting,
Good.
and yeah, Zoom is acting up a little bit. So
Good. I thought it was just me, man. About it. This never happened like this. It sometimes happens to me, believe it or not, when I'm teaching. We use Teams at LIBI, and sometimes same thing. Like it doesn't work for some reason sometimes. All right, I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint to pull up. Okay. I do have to change my modem. That's probably what it is. I haven't been able to change it, so I'm definitely going to change it eventually. Come on. Happens to me sometimes in a class environment, but never in this setting, right? So I'm gonna do the session. Come on.
real quick before we get started, guys, if you're part of the R&R, if you're an R&R member, you're gonna be required to sign in. So I'm going to post the link once again. That way you guys could get credit for for attending this presentation. So I'll post it one more time.
Alfonso, I might make you the not the host, but I might have to send you the presentation. It's not opening up for some reason. It's like my worst day, my worst nightmare today.
All right, send it to me.
Yeah, that's gonna be my plan B.
Guys, for the meantime, if you have any questions, anything you want to know, if you're interested in doing internships for school credit, for experience purposes, or just a general question in particular, just feel free to ask us. This is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah. I think it's finally gonna open up. Come on. I've done this. All right, cool. So I'm gonna share my screen. All right. Let's see if this works. Oh, wait a minute. PowerPoint's not responding. How are they not responding?
Oh, Abigail, the reason why you can't see your screen is because we have it in a different format. So you're not gonna be able to see your screen as you usually do. We did it this way because in the past, whenever we have a lot of people part of the presentation or part of the meeting, some people have different noise on the background, and then the meeting jumps from screen to screen, which could get a little complicated.
Yeah. All right, so now I have the PowerPoint. Now I'm trying to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. We're almost getting there, Alfonso. Almost. Now I got it. I got it. Let me stop here. Just did it, Beth. Thanks. Okay. Share the screen. Where is it? Screen. Let's try this. Do you guys see the screen? Alfonso, do you see the presentation? Alfonso, do you see it?
Yeah, I think. Wait, let me see. Let me see. My thing's acting up now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I see you. I still see you. I don't see this.
You don't see it?
Wait. I see it on the corner. Yeah, I see it now. I see it.
You see it? Can you guys see it on the screen? Can someone just comment?
I see it. They
You
see
see,
it.
you see it completely on the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sorry for the delay. A lot of technical difficulties. I am Dr. Hara Borja, a great colleague of Alfonso. We met when we were both working at Berkeley College, and this presentation is on building relationships virtually using LinkedIn. So whether you are whether you're going to school and trying to reinvent yourself and going back into the workforce, or whether you're in a sales or business development role and trying to obtain leads, or whether you're in a spot like Alfonso trying to connect with individuals to help with service, it's to sit through this presentation, right? So a little bit about me. I got my DBA, my Doctor of Business Administration from Walden University as of a year ago. March 19 to be exact. I got my MBA back in '07 from Long Island University, and I got my BBA from Berkeley in 2003, right? So a little bit about me, what I do now for money is I am a financial services professional with Primary Financial. We help individuals, families, and small businesses with their full-fledged financial planning, right? So whether it's protection, savings, growth, and debt, come up with customized solutions for business owners and for families, right? I also have my own consulting company, Borja Consulting Group, where I help small businesses with small business planning, coaching, and strategy. And I also have my speaking career that I'm trying to take off, and I get paid on residuals on a book, Networking Way to Success, through this LLC as well. And I'm also active in the community. I am the executive vice president for the New Jersey chapter, right? So what Prosponica does is we help Hispanics trying to get to the C-suite through connecting them with our sponsors or Fortune 500 companies, and also we provide scholarships, and also we do professional development as well. Right? A little bit about me in one slide. So I want you to go on your LinkedIn if you have your phones. If you're on your phone, obviously you're multitasking. You should congratulate someone on a new job, right? Give kudos to someone, wish someone a happy birthday, respond to someone who's engaged with you, or if not, engage later, right? So this was meant for 12 o'clock, but obviously it's 12:21, so I'm trying to breeze through the agenda, right? So the agenda, real quick, is introductions. Obviously, that was the first exercise. Give kudos, recommendations, endorsements, commenting on posts, video messaging, alum, events, groups, and thought leadership, right? So as far as making introductions, right? So although I say this, so I think for the most part we have students here, but at the same time, it's also great to kind of build your network virtually, right? It looks like we're not going to be back to normal anytime soon, so you have to find ways to be creative in order to build your network virtually, right? And you could do that by having introductions made by your fellow colleagues, by professors, and or clients of yours, right? And you could do that through first degree connections and also second degree connections, right? So I'll give you an example with Alfonso. Let's say with Alfonso, I ask him, hey, Alfonso, can you introduce me to 3 people in your network via LinkedIn? That verbiage, right? If he does that for me, that's 3 introductions from Alfonso. Let's say we have others. Let's say I do that by 5, right? 3 times 5. That's 15 new connections or introductions that I have now that I did not have as of a week ago. So it's a great opportunity to expand your network and then provide your services. Like I said, I usually see three people in three columns. Either one, you're trying to look for a job; two, you're trying to sell or biz dev something; or three, you are trying to promote a service that you have, right? Like in Alfonso's case, right? So also, you could also search in addition to their second degree connections, right? So let's say Alfonso, I go through his LinkedIn, and I go through his connections, or I go through my client's connections, or I go through networking, or COI, which stands for Center of Influence Connections. Then you are also able to expand your network that way. Same concept applies. Let's say I'm connected with Alfonso, me with people that he knows that I don't, and I'm able to expand on my network with the following verbiage, right? So, for example, dear Alfonso, thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I noticed a few connections we have not yet the pleasure of meeting with. I would appreciate you can make the professional introduction, yada, 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 right? And then Alfonso, what he'll do is he'll take this exact verbiage right here, part two, as far as the introduction, and say, hey, it's your colleague by way of this email. I want to introduce you to Dr. Jairo. In his firm specializes in working with small businesses with business valuations and providing them with an executive bonus plans. Been doing that for 30 years. It'd be a great resource for you and your colleagues. Boom, that's it, right? And then I'll reply, thank you for the introduction. Let's set up a time to meet separately for a cup of coffee, or I guess in this case, virtual cup of coffee. So if he was to do that, let's say for me, with 3 connections a week, and if I let's say choose 4 other people, all right, so that's 50 that I did not have before that I have now, right? And this definitely has been working for me in my role in my everyday business, and it could work for you as well, right? As far as introductions on LinkedIn, have you ever uh, I should have. I didn't have time to set up the poll, but have you ever asked for an introduction on LinkedIn? Have you ever closed business on LinkedIn? Have you given an introduction on LinkedIn? Um, can't wait to leverage introductions on LinkedIn. What do you guys think? Have you guys ever given an introduction to someone? Have you closed business? Have you asked for introductions? Anyone can make a comment real quick on the. Well, I didn't set up the poll, but you could if you want. Um, you can make a comment.
Hear me, Jairo?
Huh? Say it again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, so a perfect example, I work with a lot of students that are trying to do an internship both for credit and for experience purposes.
Sure.
So a lot of students that are very active on LinkedIn, they want to connect with alumni, right?
Sure.
Some students are not very comfortable, reaching out to them directly.
Sure.
If I'm connected to that individual, I often make the introduction. So where I connect, the
Exactly.
to the alum to the student.
Exactly. That's a perfect example and how you made an introduction, right? And it's great. And it's a great up and um you're always, making that introduction that way, right? And always expanding the person's network and giving him some type of introduction. Someone raised their hand. You could go ahead, you could make a comment in the comment box. No? Okay. I'll keep going. All right. So basically moving on to transition as far as kudos, right? It's a great opportunity for you to highlight a team member. It's a great way for you to highlight a certain initiative, program. That I saw that with a couple of ex-colleagues giving kudos to each other recently, and it's great because it shows teamwork, it shows camaraderie using LinkedIn, right? So you could welcome a teammate, you could provide kudos, right? And it's a great opportunity, like I said, to highlight that you're a team player on LinkedIn, right? So that's one thing. I don't want to. I'm trying to rush through it because I really want to get to the Q&A, right? So also giving recommendations is great. It's think of it as like a Yelp, right? So when you think of Yelp, you look at a restaurant review, right, and to see whether you're going to eat there or not, right? And obviously, if there's a lot of positive comments, then it'll highly incline you to go ahead into the restaurant, right? As opposed to if it has a lot of negative reviews, you're kind of inclined not to attend the restaurant, right? So the same thing could be said with the recommendations, right? It obviously all depends on the industry because certain industries are restrictive versus others. But when it comes to it's great because recruiters and hiring managers see that, right? So I just updated a recommendation recently. Someone gave me a recommendation, and it's a great opportunity for if recruiters wanted to get to know me, or if hiring managers want to get to talk to me, at least they'll say, "Oh wow, this guy." It's a consistent message. He's a team player. He's interpersonal. He knows what he's saying or doing, right? So it also provides great feedback from vendors that want to work with you. For those of you in the sales or business development role, and it's also great feedback to obtain from former instructors and or colleagues, and it also assists someone in promoting their particular brand, right? So it's always good. If you haven't done so, you could always ask for recommendations, and you could also give recommendations as well, right? um, and the reason why it's important to have recommendations, especially if you're trying to get hired, it's a great opportunity for them to see to showcase you in your abilities and capabilities in what you do and what other people say about you, right? And this is an example screenshot of my. It was not recent; it's a couple of months ago of recommendations received and given. Okay. The other thing I also want to discuss is endorsements, right? So you added yourself and individuals endorse you, right? So the reason why I like endorsements is because similar to a resume, how it has an ATS or applicate tracking system, you want to be able to identify, what are your core competencies, right? What are you known for, right? So in my case, Alfonso knows me for for a couple of years. My background has been in higher education, and of course now small business and still higher education. So I'm known for recruiting, leadership, career counseling, biz dev, sales, and all that, right? So the more people that endorse me, if someone was to ever want to hire me, let's say to speak about a certain topics or hire me on for as a consultant for certain topics, it'll come up for those particular buzzwords or keywords. So that's why it's important for you to be able to be endorsed and also put take the time as far as putting together your endorsements when it comes to LinkedIn. I've never taken the skills and endorsements quiz per se. That question came up the last time we presented Alfonso, but definitely check it out. But as far as endorsements, similar to a resume, how system per se, you should if you want to be known or if you want to be called on or hired or for an interview uh, for marketing strategy or for sales or justice studies or whatever, you should definitely put some key buzzwords when it comes to skills. Okay, so these are some of the examples of my particular buzzwords with my background in social networking, marketing, biz dev, higher education, marketing strategy, sales, etc. Right? So just like how I highlighted certain buzzwords here, hopefully this provides you with certain ideas for you. Okay. All right, so why comment on posts? Probably one of the most important slides in the entire presentation because there's a difference between liking and sharing, right? With a like, you're just giving an automatic approval and everyone in your network sees it. With a share, you have the ability to write your own comment, write your own particular hashtags, etc. Right? And depending on the relationship, you want to make the conversation and you stay in touch with connections, right? I'll give you a case in point. A few weeks ago, someone made a comment on a particular post, and as a result, we were able to spin off, have a sidebar conversation, and then set up a couple of meetings after that. So that's a great opportunity for you to leverage LinkedIn when it comes to building those relationships, right? Um, the LinkedIn's algorithm has two goals. Number one, it prioritizes content, and two, it promotes engagement, right? So just remember that relevancy trumps recency. Just because it's the most recent thing doesn't mean it's going to be at the priority for LinkedIn. It's got to be a priority. It has to be trending, similar to Twitter, how there's hashtags with various topics. It has to be trending, such as COVID-19, unemployment, or whatever hot topic it is at the moment. That's what's going to be at the top of the list, right? And then from a ranking signal for LinkedIn's algorithm, it's about a couple of things, right? One, personal connections, your personal connection to relevance, and three, engagement probability, right? So it all depends on who you connected with, what is the interest in the particular topic, and what is the engagement probability there, right? So that's why you should comment on posts, and that's how the algorithm itself works, right? So it's important not just to post, you could post frequently, but it's most importantly what you post is most important as well. And as long as you use the hashtags similar to Twitter, you'll be on your way, right? Because the whole goal is for you to get views on your post, right? Everyone, it's to drive traffic for individuals to get to your page, so to speak, right? And why? Because you either want to be hired, you either want to be contacted for a service you offer, or in Alfonso's case, same thing. You want to be contacted for a service he offers in this case, which is internships, right? Or guest speakers, right? What I wanted to show you, and I had it up, and I didn't save it, was an opportunity for an exercise that I was doing earlier today. It was probably why it all happened to me, right? So what I did recently, and it's amazing. Highly recommend you do it, especially for a person like me who has in the five figures when it comes to connections, right? So you could always export your contacts, right? And then separate them as far as who you're going to target for prospects, who you're going to target as a referral, right? And you can reach out to them 10 per day and track the progress that way, right? So you could flip the script and use the same concept if you was to look for a job, right? And then you could separate it by who can I speak to directly that'll be somewhat of a decision maker as far as setting up an interview, and who do I know, like an Alfonso or like a Dr. Jairo, who could connect me with a particular decision maker, right? You can make a list and color code it, and then from there, if you reach out to 10 people per day, they always say it's a job to get a job, right? So reach out to 10 people per day. If you do that times five or even times six, that's 60 messages that you probably did not think about doing, right? And then track the progress. 10, I might have, set up one or two interviews, right? So just something to consider and something to think about, right? It's 2020. Let's face it, you can't just post, apply to 100 jobs and that's it. You have to be creative and think outside the box when it comes to being strategic, when it comes to the job search, and leveraging Alfonso, leveraging myself, leveraging your existing contacts is definitely a great opportunity to do so. Okay. So I'm giving you the exact instructions. What I'll do, Alfonso, I'll share this PowerPoint because it's a little bit different. A lot of stuff in the beginning I kind of tweaked. So I share this version with you. You're more than happy to send it out to the group, right? So this is the exact instructions on how to export your contacts, right? So you're gonna go to My Network here. I just did it earlier. You're gonna go to Manage Sync and Imported Contacts here. You're going to export contacts here. Hit connections there, and then you'll get an email. I did it earlier today again because I had to update my list because you know a, a good 100 people over the past month or so. So with that being said, you'll get an email 10 minutes later, and then you're able to color code that spreadsheet, right? All right. All right, we got like 10, 15 minutes. All right, so as far as video messaging from LinkedIn, like I said, big disclaimer. This is just an additional strategy. Obviously this has to be really scripted, really rehearsed, right? I don't advise everyone to do this when it comes to video messaging, but at the same time, it has to be real scripted, really rehearsed. This is just an additional strategy for you to leverage video messaging from LinkedIn, and I believe it's free. I believe because I did that recently. I piloted with someone and it's free. You don't have to have premium for it as well. So reasons to use LinkedIn video messaging. You could follow up with your prospects, right? Or you could follow up with individuals you're trying to make connections with. You could do some sort of team introductions this way. You could do demonstrations, believe it or not. Let's say if you're not using Zoom, you could send messages back and forth using the video. You could provide testimonials as well. A lot of individuals in the HR dash recruiting space are using this because it's a great opportunity to see how are you from a nonverbal communication standpoint. Like how are you as far as eye contact, facial expressions, how are you as far as delivery, how you answer certain questions, how do you handle behavioral style interviews, how do you behavioral style questions and all that. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to LinkedIn video messaging, right? So that's just an additional strategy or additional source, right? So tips, if you are going to go this route, just to kind of put a feeler out there. A script is helpful. You should highlight the prospect's name or person's name, their company name, and their website. Any data that you may have on the organization, such as, hey, recently I saw you acquire this bank. It's a great blah 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 because of what. And then you should also in advance, right, answer any questions that they may ask you, right? So, whether it's what are was the time regarding you, how'd you overcome pressure, or how do you overcome as far as weakness, so you can answer one of those top questions as well. This way you eliminate any doubt and take away that any doubt, right, per se, right? All right, so what I also wanted to do is leverage the alumni network, right? So I put LIU here because the LIU is obviously that's my alma mater for my MBA, right? So what I could do or what you should do, for example, let's say BMCC, correct, Alfonso? Most of these students?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks, man. So I'm pretty sure BMCC has a page, right, for their alum or for everyone, right? So what I would do if I was what are the majors here, Alfonso? Is it a mix? Accounting.
We have accounting, business, small business, media
Okay.
arts and technology. We have a whole bunch.
Okay. So let's just say if I was a student at BMCC, accounting major, and wanted to speak to an alum who's currently working for the Big Four per se, right? So you would do whatever, something manager or account manager or senior accountant, where they live. You could narrow it down to where they work, right? And basically you do your research, right? And as far as who to connect with, and then I have the exact verbiage of how to connect them, right? And the reason you're going to connect with them is you're going to try to set up some sort of informational interview, right? Or right, and the purpose of that is to kind of just ensure, again, expanding your network by leveraging your existing alum. So for example, hi, my name is Alfonso. I'm a senior accounting major at BMCC. I find your contact information through Alumni Office. I love for just 20 minutes of your time to meet for a virtual cup of coffee, hear more about what you do at, I don't know, PwC on a daily basis, your career path, and what it's like to work in the field. I've attached a copy of my resume, so you have a frame as a regards to my education experience, right? So what you're doing is obviously you're doing your research. Obviously, you're making sure that in touch with the alumni network as well. But at the same time, what you're doing is creating a informational interview, right? And you're not being too salesy, too pushy, and at the same time, you're able to make a connection and make a friend. I think it's a great opportunity for you to leverage your alumni network there, right? All right. So as far as event, yes, go ahead.
Real quick. And
Sure.
guys, don't be afraid, to send out that email.
Yeah.
Alumni, they were there before, they were in
Yeah.
your shoes. So
Yeah.
just draft something, make it professional.
Yeah.
Don't make something that's an essay. Make it, short and neat,
Yeah.
and send it out. Don't send it out to one person. Try to send it out to a few.
Yeah.
That way, if you're trying to prepare for an interview or something, trying to prepare yourself for a presentation or something, that is related towards your career, you could do it right away, or you could get a response right away. Because
Exactly.
some people right now, for example, myself, I'm getting like 40 messages a day, and sometimes, I'm not able to get through each single email, or message that I'm getting. So
Yeah.
definitely send it out to a few alumni.
Yeah, take advantage of your alumni network. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure BMCC's alumni network is deep, right? I'm pretty sure. I can't, right? It's got to
Yeah,
be at least 50,000, probably more, right?
we have a good amount, so you could definitely have a good number of students to choose from.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thanks, man. So I also wanted to highlight events, right? So basically, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quick story. So I started my own networking group that we meet on a monthly basis, and we're going to meet at the end of the month. So by the way, I'll be more than happy to share that with Alfonso as well, the link. So we're going to have Vanessa De Leon, who's a Berkeley College graduate, who's a big time interior designer, and the purpose of the monthly networking me to connect with different small business owners and my partner as well, and to kind of see how can we do business with each other, right? So what I decided to do starting as of last month is I was able to create the event on Zoom, obviously, but also create the event on LinkedIn, right? So, and as those individuals accept, it'll just be create another opportunity to create awareness. And then what I do is afterwards, I'll send them the direct link for them to register for the event. But I'm just creating I'm just again using LinkedIn, using another tool on LinkedIn in order to create buzz on my event. So this is an example of how to create an event on LinkedIn, right? So you hit the plus sign here, and you put the event name. I'm the organizer, for example. The broadcast link to the Zoom link, for example, will be there. And then below you have details as far as the event itself, right? So I think it's a great opportunity just to be creative, think outside the box, see what you're about. And I'm giving you the exact instructions as far as how to create a particular event. So groups, right? Groups are so important. I think LinkedIn has increased the cap. I know 50 was a cap. I think there's a little bit more now, but it's a great opportunity for you to participate and volunteer for some of these organizations, right? So Alfonso knows I volunteer for ASIS in New York City, and I'm big with Prospanica as well. And I'm actually going to be doing this same presentation for the National DBA Society. I'm going to tweak it here and there in a couple of months as well. So it's a great opportunity for me, for me to get exposure, great opportunity for me to make connections, a great opportunity for me to hopefully build relationships and hopefully do business. I've done business with a lot of people in my previous career, and now I'm making that transition into entrepreneurship, right? So if you haven't done so, highly recommend you join a network, such as an organization like a Prospanica, for example, where you could connect with individuals with different chapters, attend national conferences, attend regional conferences, and you never know, help each other out. I'll give you a great example. I'm connected very well with the organization, with the chapter leaders, and I was able to do a presentation on the same thing, but I was able to, it's a different version of it with the LA chapter. We did a webinar earlier this year, even pre-COVID, and I also did the same webinar in April with the Phoenix chapter, where I was able to again do this presentation on networking. So look, I'm expanding my network by having connections all throughout the country, and I'm also doing my presentation to different markets. So that's a great it definitely helps me out. Alfonso, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Tell them real quick the quick story of how volunteering got you in your gig now.
I had two. The first example, before I forgot,
Yeah,
in terms of the second connections and asking somebody to, if they could introduce you to that particular person, employer, recruiter. Um, so Hyra and I, we have a mutual connection.
yeah,
She works for the New York City Paralegal Association. And this particular individual, she was looking for employment for months.
yeah,
Man, she was going to interview after interview, and for some reason she was not lucky. She was having a difficult time
yeah,
finding employment. uh, she applied to an opportunity. She saw that Hyro was connected with the employer or the recruiter,
yeah,
and Hyro made the introduction. She got the interview, and she was able to secure the position. So she started, eventually she started working again.
yeah,
And that mainly happened not because she applied to it or she had all the experiences, but I would say, in my opinion, because Hyra made that introduction
yeah,
and the employer was a little bit more interested in interviewing that candidate.
exactly.
So definitely take advantage of your second connections, people
Yeah,
that are connected to somebody that you're interested in connecting to,
yeah,
because those connections could go long, a long way. It
yeah,
could get you that internship that you've been looking for. It could get you that job, you name it. Now, for my example, the one that Hyra is referring to, so a lot of you are probably familiar with me. A lot of you are probably asking yourselves, who is this guy? So my name is Alfonso. I'm the academic internship specialist at BMCC. And when I was an undergrad, I started majoring in economics and industrial engineering. Basically, to cut the long story short, I did an internship in engineering. At the end, I was offered a job. During the same time, I was volunteering for the disability office at Buffalo State College. So once I graduated, the internship they offered me a position that was paying probably like 65,000. So coming, graduating right out of college, getting that type of money, getting that type of opportunity, it's a given, right? A lot of us will take it and be able to start, your careers. However, I didn't have I didn't have that feeling inside of me, and I was very interested in learning more, um, that was related to like the volunteer work that I was doing. So I decided to take a leap of faith, turn down the opportunity, and come back to the city. When I came back to the city, that particular experience, that volunteer experience, it helped me get a job in nonprofit. And that's something that eventually led me to where I am today. This is something that I love doing. Um, this is something that allowed me to connect with great people like Hyro in my previous job. And you never know. So the volunteer opportunity, it was non-paid. There was not much of a benefit if you put yourself in my shoes, because it had nothing to do with the field, the majors that I was studying, which is economics and industrial engineering. But it helped me get that job, that I have now. So definitely take advantage of different opportunities that are presented to you. If you're not sure, give it a try. You have nothing to lose. All you have to lose is probably a few hours of your time, but you can meet, you can make great connections. You never know.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Alfonso. Great story. That's why when I presented this is my third time, and I always like hearing that story. So
It's real, man. It's real. So you could
it's
definitely,
real.
if you
Exactly.
go on LinkedIn, this is how real it is. Go on my LinkedIn, and you'll be able to see one of my recommendations is that employer.
Yeah.
Lisa, I forgot her, Lisa F. Her last name starts with an F. She
Yeah.
gave me a recommendation. She still gives me recommendations to this day. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities, because you never know. You never know where that could take you.
Yep, yep. Thank you, man. So due to time constraints, I fast forward a little bit, but I'll definitely send this presentation to Alfonso for review at your own leisure. Right, from a thought leadership standpoint, right? You always want to offer value, right? In return, that's more than invested time, right? Whether it's a webinar or a Zoom meeting, right? You want to be able to assist in solving that problem, right? So I've learned this term this year, right? So, being a thought leader is about sharing news, sharing your content on your news feed, adding to existing commentary or your commentary, commenting on other people's posts, sharing content with other individuals, creating content from time to time, and also videos, as mentioned earlier, right? So, at the end of the day, you want to be able to provide valuable content and insight, but most importantly, first, right? And the reason why is if you're not first at the forefront an expert in, then you're going to miss the opportunity, and someone else will take that spot, right? So, for example, let's say if if it's something on networking, and let's say if I'm not the first, and let's say someone wants to hire someone down the line for a networking, for a presentation on networking, it'll be someone else and not me getting that call, right? So it's important for you to be a thought leader and become an expert in a particular field, right? So that's something to keep in mind, something to consider, right? A few things as far as driving traffic to your content: recycling posts, but just be mindful of what you recycle. Share your article in various groups, mention people from time to time, share it with others, add it to your email signature, and also send a welcome message from time to time. Daily checklist for your LinkedIn. Definitely, you could check who viewed your profile. Of course, premium. Probably you could see every single person, but I advise not to, sign up for premium. I'll tell you why. Only because for me, it's about making connections with other individuals, right? Or getting those introductions. And you know what? That's free. I don't have to pay for that. So for me, in my opinion, I don't. That's why I don't pay for premium. And then, as far as you could also accept or deny outstanding connection requests, welcome new connections from time to time, share content, engage in news feed and notifications, and connect with everyone you meet, whether it's virtually here or whether it's on site at an event. So I'm more than happy to connect with anyone out of the 40 people here, and more than happy to help in any way, shape, or form that I can. Right. So that's a daily checklist there. And from a weekly standpoint, be mindful as far as any client or introduction requests, your networking partner introductions, second degree introduction requests, engage on targeted first degree connections, company search, and also join conversations when applicable on either a targeted company or a targeted subject, right? Here's your action plan here. Ensure you have a professional headshot. I know it's very challenging now. You could just take a picture behind a blank wall, per se. Summary, make sure it's intact. Make sure your experience is filled out. Volunteer information, make sure it's all up to date. I challenge you, send 10 messages out per day to your first degree connections or prospects to kind of help you with the job search, and or even if you're in the biz dev role. Comment and share and post, but be strategic about it, right? Again, it's about relevancy. It's about whatever it's trending in a particular topic and not necessarily relevancy, right? Give kudos once in a while, endorse what you can, ask, receive recommendations, leverage your alumni, use a daily checklist, daily and weekly checklist, right? So here's real quick, and then we'll get to a little bit of Q&A. We don't have much time, but here's a little overview about myself and how I got to this particular. Now I use a little LinkedIn symbol here, a little bit about me, makes myself very personable, right? People like doing business with people they like. So I put, a little stuff about baseball and all that there. My little services. Um, there as far as what I could do. Purchasing my book is the website there, and then my contact information for financials one versus the consulting the other. Right, a little cheap plug on my book. And if you're more than happy, I'll send this a presentation Alfonso. I'm more than happy to sit with you for a few minutes and kind of help you guide you that way as well. Okay. All right. Good. So I rushed through it, Alfonso, but I think I made up some time. We have about 7 minutes for a little Q&A.
Yeah. We had a lot of technical difficulties in the beginning, but I feel like we covered a lot of information in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more cool things that you could do with LinkedIn, with any
Absolutely.
other platform.
Absolutely.
Just all it takes, is a couple of hours throughout the week.
Yeah.
Sign up for workshops
Yeah.
because people, they always sharing something new, and these applications are always being updated.
Yeah.
So you definitely, wanna once you have an account, you want to be active. Try
Yeah.
to do as much as possible. Um, and try to connect with as many people as possible as you can. Don't
Yeah.
just focus on one individual.
Yep. 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 Agreed. Thanks, man.
So
Anybody? Any
yeah,
questions?
now it's a good time to ask questions, guys. We have a couple minutes. Ask Dr. Jairo Borja, whatever seems confusing, or if you want to know something, and then he'll be able to assist you with that particular question.
There's two in
All
the
right.
Q&A.
So we have a question. Can someone who has no work experience still have an internship? So, Jairo, do you want to answer
I'll
that
answer,
one?
I'll answer some of it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just because you don't have experience, you should definitely highlight some of your group projects you've been working on, some of your leadership stuff in school if you've joined a particular group, and highlight your leadership qualities there. And yeah, that's what the internship is about, right? It's the bridge into the workforce. Definitely, you could more. I highly think that you could get an internship if as long as you highlight some of the other things. Alfonso, you want to add to that or?
Right. So every semester I come across different individuals. Like I stated before in the beginning of the presentation, I work with students that are majoring in accounting, media arts, and technology, and business, and students in business management, and small business. And a lot of the students, they haven't had the opportunity to work in those particular fields. However, they have a lot of relevant things that they could put on their resume, such as maybe the programs that they learn how to use, through the courses that they have taken. Also, what you want to put in there, extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
If you're somebody that's very active on campus, it could be a club, it could be an initiative that you're running. The last thing that we mentioned before, volunteer opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of the times employers are not just looking for somebody that has the experience, right? They're
Right.
looking for that student that goes above and beyond, somebody that's very active, not just the student that has the 4.0 GPA. So try to put as many things as possible on your resume. If you're not sure, you could reach out to the Center for Career Development. They are currently hosting virtual meetings, and one of the advisors will sit down with you and help you break down the resume, things that you could add, things that you could take away. And yeah.
Cool. Any other questions?
When applying for an internship, is it recommended to have a resume with my work? Where in BMCC building do I plan to attend for an internship? And will there be a person assistant during the process of internship application? All right, so I'll answer this one.
Sure.
So right now, we are not sure if we are going to go back anytime soon. I will send everybody that attended an email. That way you could have my actual email address, along with Dr.
Yeah.
Jairo Borja's contact information.
Absolutely.
if you're interested in doing an internship for academic credit, send me an email and then we'll take it from there. We could have like a one-on-one virtual meeting.
Sure.
In terms of applying for an internship, you always going to need your resume. That's a given. It's always going to be required with your relevant work experience. Sometimes they require cover letters and also even portfolios for certain majors. So I would say, since you know that resumes are going to be required, start working on your resume. Once again, if you need extra assistance, you can always reach out to the Center for Career Development. I will put that information on the email, and then you guys will have it later on today.
Cool. Any other questions?
Let me see. No, that's it.
That's it.
We have one on the chat. Somebody wants to know if we are going to be providing the access to the webinar afterwards.
Yes, like the recording. Yeah, what I'll do is it may be blank for a couple of minutes, but yes, I will. If you fast forward, yes, I will send that to Alfonso, the recording to the webinar today. Hi, you're welcome. Anytime. Thank you, Boris.
Any other recommendations, Jairo, you would like to give the students, especially the ones that are looking to not only seek internship opportunities, but maybe go after jobs, right? Part-time or full-time. What would you say? 3 things that you could wrap up this conversation with.
3 things. 1, make sure your profile's up to speed, kind of on my last slide. Make sure you have your professional picture in place. Make sure you have your experience in place. Make sure you have your summary in place. Number 2, definitely participate in groups that are related to your major, related to your area of specialty. Participate in those conversations and then connect with those recruiters as well. And number 3, definitely, if you're applying to certain jobs, definitely check who your network is connected to the recruiter, so that he or she could do similar to Mariana did and be able to get introduced that way, and hopefully your resume be on top of the file. There you go. I could do this all day.
I guess we can wrap it up with the last question.
Okay.
Can you briefly explain the difference between portfolio, resume, and cover letter?
That's easy. The portfolio is like a lot more in the graphic design or fashion space. Portfolio of your past work, right? Although back in the day, the business portfolio used to be like the resume, cover letter, thank you letter, gist card, and all that, and like writing sample. And the resume is a resume, and the cover letter, I would say the cover letter, to me, I don't know about Alfonso, but my opinion is when you apply into a job, you should customize it to the particular job that you're applying for. I mean, you could have a general one, but I would say I would customize a cover letter to whatever job you're applying for.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the mark. The cover, the only thing with the cover letter, I would say, it's all. I guess you could introduce your interests, your interest in that particular opportunity, that particular job, and also explain if you have any gaps, right, on your resume. Sometimes we have a large gap. And you're not really able to explain the reason on your resume. That's where the cover letter will come in handy.
Yep. There was one last one.
Question before we let you go, Jairo. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
Nakisha wants to know, do you have an advice for an 18-year-old that will be looking for an internship in the fall, especially during this COVID-19 period?
Resume for 18-year-old with not much experience. I would
advice for that particular individual that's looking for an internship during the fall. So they're looking for an internship, but I guess they right now not really sure because of everything that's happening, right?
Right. For me, honestly, this is my opinion, just opinion. I think assume that for now it'll be virtual, right? At least in the fall. So just try to find virtual opportunities and that way. And then definitely what I would do is, depending on your major, like for example, let's say if you were in security or an organization like ASIS, and they have student chapters, right? And they also have stuff locally in New York City or Jersey, and definitely join those organizations and put yourself out there. Say, hey, I'm here to volunteer. Where can I help? And this way you'll build your resume, you'll build your reputation, and also build connections that way. So that's so for sure.
I commented our Instagram page handle. I would say follow us. I post a lot of opportunities. So it's a mixture, right? We have paid opportunities,
Yeah.
stipend, non-paid. And like Jairo said, a lot of companies are leaning towards the virtual opportunities. So take a look. And you have nothing to lose, a lot
Yeah.
to gain,
Yeah.
and you could tell your 18-year-old to see what's there and to see if anything interesting or
Yeah, yeah. There was one quick one. Do you need a cover letter for every job? It all depends on the job. And the other question that popped up was, do you walk into a hospital? No, no problem. Do you walk into a hospital for a volunteer? I wouldn't walk into a hospital at the moment, right? Definitely try to apply online at the moment, or go through online.
Yeah, so I volunteer. I actually volunteer in the hospital. You
You
don't want
do?
to get to the hospital, guys, because so I actually volunteered during the pandemic. Right now, I volunteered like a month and a half ago,
Yeah.
and you want to walk into the hospital because a lot of people are under stress. They don't want to have people, I guess guests or clients roaming around the building.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you have an appointment or you're there for a visit, to
Yep.
get medical assistance.
Yep.
I would say you could reach out to me. I have a good connection with Woodhull Hospital. They actually need volunteers. And this doesn't mean that you're going to be volunteering with the clients directly. They have different projects, different offices. So if you don't feel comfortable interacting with the patients, they have other things that you could do. It's a little risky though. You got to be comfortable with that because you never know. You
Yep.
could be a little bit more exposed to COVID-19 volunteering in that particular,
Environment, right?
environment.
Yeah,
So
yep.
if you're interested, reach out to me and then I'll give you the information.
All right, we're a little over 4 minutes. Sorry about that, but I appreciate everyone's patience, and I'm glad hopefully you learned something from today's presentation, even though I had technical difficulties. So thank you, Kalina. Thank you. Great comment. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alfonso, and I'll send that out to you as soon as
All right,
possible. Okay.
so take care.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Take care.
All right. Bye.